Shalom. Today we're going to do Genesis 11 through 15. And all the earth had one language and one speech. And it came to be, as they set out from the east, that they found a plain in the land of Shinar, and they dwelt there. And they said to each other, Come, let us make bricks and bake them thoroughly. And they had brick for stone, and they had asphalt for mortar. And they said, Come, let us build ourselves a city, and a tower whose top is in the heavens, and make a name for ourselves, lest we be scattered over all the face of the earth. Then Yahuwah came down to see the city, and the tower which the sons of men had built. And Yahuwah said, Look, they are one people, and they all have one language, and this is what they begin to do. And now they are not going to be withheld from doing whatever they plan to do. Come, let us go there and confuse their language, so that they do not understand one another's speech. And Yahuwah scattered them from there over the face of all the earth, and they left off building the city. That is why its name is called Babel, because there Yahuwah confused the language of all the earth, and from there Yahuwah scattered them over the face of all the earth. This is the genealogy of Shem. Shem was 100 years old, and brought forth Arpachshad 2 years after the flood. And after he brought forth Arpachshad, Shem lived 500 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Arpachshad lived 35 years, and brought forth Shelah. And after he brought forth Shelah, Arpachshad lived 403 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Shelah lived 30 years, and brought forth Ever. And after he brought forth Ever, Shelah lived 403 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Ever lived 34 years, and brought forth Peleg. And after he brought forth Peleg, Ever lived 430 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Peleg lived 30 years, and brought forth Reu. And after he brought forth Reu, Peleg lived 209 years, and then brought forth sons and daughters. And Reu lived 32 years, and brought forth Serug. And after he brought forth Serug, Reu lived 207 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Serug lived 30 years, and brought forth Nahor. And after he brought forth Nahor, Serug lived 200 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Nahor lived 29 years, and brought forth Terah. And after he brought forth Terah, Nahor lived 119 years, and brought forth sons and daughters. And Terah lived 70 years, and brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran. And this is the genealogy of Terah. Terah brought forth Abram, Nahor, and Haran brought forth Lot. And Haran died before his father Terah in the land of his birth in Ur-Kasdim. And Abram and Nahor took wives. The name of Abram's wife was Sarai, and the name of Nahor's wife Milcah, the daughter of Haran, the father of Milcah, and the father of Yishka. And Sarai was barren, she had no children. And Terah took his son Abram and his grandson Lot, son of Haran, and his daughter-in-law Sarai, his son Abram's wife, and they went out with them from Ur-Kasdim to go to the land of Canaan. And they came to Haran and dwelt there. And the days of Terah came to be 205 years, and Terah died in Haran. And after Yahuwah said to Abram, Go yourself out of the land from your relatives and from your father's house to a land which I show you, and I shall make you a great nation, and bless you, and make your name great, and you shall be a blessing. And I shall bless those who bless you, and shall curse him who curses you, and in you all the clans of the earth shall be blessed. So Abram left, as Yahuwah had commanded him, and Lot went with him. And Abram was 75 years old when he went out from Haran. And Abram took Sarai his wife, and Lot his brother's son, and all their possessions that they had gathered, and the beings whom they had acquired in Haran, and they set out from the land of Canaan, and they came to the land of Canaan. And Abram passed through the land to the place of Shechem, as far as the terebinth tree of Moreh. At the time the Canaanites were in the land. And Yahuwah appeared to Abram and said, To your seed I give this land. And he built there a slaughter place to Yahuwah, who had appeared to him. And from there he moved to the mountains east of Bethel. And he pitched his tent with Bethel on the west and Ai on the east. And he built there a slaughter place to Yahuwah, and called the name and called on the name of Yahuwah. And Abram set out, continuing toward the south. And a scarcity of food came to be in the land. And Abram went down to Mitzrayim to sojourn there, for the scarcity of food was severe in the land. And it came to be, when he was close to entering Mitzrayim, that he said to Sarai his wife, See, I know that you are a beautiful woman, and a beautiful woman to look at. And it shall be, when the Mitzrites see you, that they shall say, This is his wife, and they shall kill me, but let you live. Please say you are my sister, so that it shall be well with me for your sake, and my life be spared because of you. And it came to be, when Abram came into Mitzrayim, that the Mitzrites saw the woman, that she was very beautiful, and that Pharaoh's officials saw her and praised her before Pharaoh. And the woman was taken to Pharaoh's house. And he treated Abram well for her sake, and he had sheep and cattle and male donkeys and male and female servants and female donkeys and camels. But Yahuwah plagued Pharaoh and his house with great plagues because of Sarai, Abram's wife. And Pharaoh called Abram and said, What is this that you have done to me? Why did you not inform me that she was your wife? Why did you say, She is my sister, and so I was going to take her for my wife? Look, here is your wife. Take her and go. And Pharaoh commanded his men concerning him, and they sent him away with his wife and all that he had. And Abram went up from Mitzrayim into the south, he and his wife and all that he had, and Lot with him. And Abram was very rich in livestock, in silver, and in gold. And he went on his journey from the south as far as Bethel, to the place where his tent had been at the beginning between Bethel and Ai, to the place of the slaughter place which he had made there at first. And there Abram called on the name of Yahuwah. Now Lot, who went with Abram, also had flocks and herds and tents, and the land was not able to bear them, that they might dwell together, for their possessions were great, so they could not dwell together. And there was strife between the herdsmen of Abram's livestock and the herdsmen of Lot's livestock. And at the time of the Canaanites and the Perizzites dwelt in the land. Then Abram said to Lot, Let there be no strife between you and me, and between my herdsmen and your herdsmen, for we are brothers. Is not all the land before you? Please separate from me. If you take the left, then I'll go to the right, or if you go to the right, then I'll go to the left. And Lot lifted his eyes and saw all the plain of the Jordan, that it was well watered everywhere, before Yahuwah destroyed Sodom and Gomorrah, like the garden of Yahuwah, like the land of Mitzrayim, as you go towards Seir. So Lot chose for himself all the plain of the Jordan, and Lot moved east. Thus they separated from each other, Abram dwelling in the land of the Canaanite, and Lot dwelling in the cities of the plain, and pitched his tent as far as Sodom. But the men of Sodom were evil, and sinned before Yahuwah exceedingly so. And after Lot had separated from him, Yahuwah said to Abram, Now lift up your eyes, and look from the plain where you are, northward and southward, and eastward and westward. For all the land which you see I shall give to you and your seed forever. And I shall make your seed as the dust of the earth, so that if a man could count the dust of the earth, then your seed also could be counted. Arise, walk in the land through its length and its width, for I give it to you. So Abram moved his tent, and went and dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, which are in Hebron, and built a slaughter place there to Yahuwah. And it came to be, in the days of Amraphel, a sovereign of Shinar, Arioch, sovereign of Elasar, Kedorlaomer, sovereign of Eliam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goim, that they fought against Bera, sovereign of Sodom, Bersha, sovereign of Amorah, Sinab, sovereign of Avma, Shemever, sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Sor. All these joined together in the valley of Siddim, that is the Salt Sea. 12 years they served Kedorlaomer, and in the 13th year they rebelled. And in the 14th year, Kedorlaomer and the sovereigns that were with him came and struck the Rephaim in Ashtaroth Karim, and the Zuzim and Ham, and the Emites in Shawat Kiriathim, and the Horites in their mountain of Seir as far as El Paran, which is by the wilderness. They turned back and came to in Mishpat, that is Kadesh, and struck all the country of the Amalekites, and also the Amorites who dwelt in Hatzon and Tamar, and the sovereign of Sodom, and the sovereign of Amorah, and the sovereign of Admah, and the sovereign of Seboim, and the sovereign of Bela, that is Sor, went out and joined together in battle in the valley of Siddim, against Kedorlaomer, sovereign of Eliam, and Tidal, sovereign of Goim, and Emerphil, sovereign of Shinar, and Arioch, sovereign of Elisur, 4 sovereigns against 5. And the valley of Siddim had many tar pits, and the sovereigns of Siddim and Amorah fled and fell there, and the remainder fled to the mountains. And they took all the grounds of Sodom and Amorah, and all their food, and went away. And they took Lot, Abram's brother's son, who dwelt in Sodom, and his goods, and left. And one who had escaped came and informed Abram the Hebrew, for he dwelt by the terebinth trees of Mamre, the Amorite brother of Eshcol, and brother of Aner, and they had a covenant with Abram. And when Abram heard that his brother was taken captive, he armed his 318 trained servants who were born in his own house, and went in pursuit as far as Dan. And he and his servants divided against them by night, and struck them, and pursued them as far as Hova, which is on the left of Damascus. So he brought back all the goods, and also brought back his brother Lot and his goods, as well as the women and the people. And after his return, from the striking of Kedorlaomer, and the sovereigns whom were with him, the sovereign of Sodom came out to meet him at the valley of Shawah, that is the sovereign's valley. And Melchizedek, sovereign of Shalem, brought out bread and wine. Now he was the priest of the Most High El. And he blessed him, and said, Blessed be Abram of the Most High El, possessor of the heavens and earth. And blessed be the Most High El, who has delivered your enemies into your hand. And he gave him 1/10 of all. I just realized we lost some space there. And the sovereign of Sodom said to Abram, Give me the people, and take the goods for yourself. But Abram said to the sovereign of Sodom, I have lifted my hand to Yahuwah, the Most High El, the possessor of the heavens and earth, not to take a thread or a sandal strap or whatever is yours, lest you should say, I have made Abram rich, except only what the young men have eaten, and the portion of the men who went with me, Aner, Eshcol, and Mamre, let them take their portion. After these events, the words of Yahuwah came to Abram in a vision, saying, Do not be afraid. Abram, I am your shield. Your reward is exceedingly great. And Abram said, Master Yahuwah, what would you give me, seeing I go childless, and the heir of my house is Eliezer of Damascus? And Abram said, See, you have given me no seed, and see, one born of my house is my heir. And see, the word of Yahuwah came to him, saying, This one is not your heir, but the one who comes from your own body is your heir. And he brought him outside and said, Look now towards the heavens, and count the stars if you are able to count them. And he said to him, So are your seed. And he believed in Yahuwah, and he reckoned it to him for righteousness. And he said to him, I am Yahuwah, who brought you out of Ur-Kasdim to give you the land to inherit it. And he said, Master Yahuwah, whereby do I know that I possess it? And he said to him, Bring me a 3-year-old heifer, and a 3-year-old female goat, and a 3-year-old ram, and a turtle dove, and a young pigeon. And he took all these to him, and cut them in the middle, and placed each half opposite the other, but he did not cut the birds. And the birds of prey came down, and the carcasses, and Abram drove them away. And it came to be, when the sun was going down, and a deep sleep fell upon Abram, that see, a frightening great darkness fell upon him. And he said to Abram, Know for certain that your seed are to be sojourners in a land that is not theirs. They shall serve them, and they shall afflict them for 400 years. But the nation whom they serve I am going to judge, and afterward let them come out with great possessions. And now as for you, you are to go to your fathers in peace. You are to be buried at a good old age. Then in the 4th generation they shall return here. For the crookedness of the Amorites is not yet complete. And it shall be, when the sun went down, and it was dark, that see, a smoking oven and a burning torch passed between the pieces. On the same day, Yahuwah made a covenant with Abram, saying, I have given this land to your seed. From the river of Mitzrayim to the great river, the river Euphrates, from the Canaanite and the Kenizzite and the Kadmonite and the Hittite and the Perizite and the Rephaim and the Amorite and the Canaanite and the Girgashite and the Jebusite. Whew. Lots of names, lots of places. Hope you guys have a wonderful day today. And just as a final little piece, let's see if I can find the right one. This is the back of the book. And this red line here is Avram's journey that he just went through. I believe he was with his daddy whenever he left here. But either way, don't forget to look at the back of your book. It's got wonderful things back here. Lots of information. I love you guys. Thank you for your time.